The river came to San Jose State in May of 2002. We were a 5-year-old church filled with faith and idealism, hope and ambition. The journey before us would be harder than any of us ever imagined, but filled with some really beautiful pictures of what God would do in our midst.
We've been coming to the river for about 7 years, and we had just joined a small group with friends from college who all lived in our neighborhood, who were all going to the river. And so we felt like it would make a lot of sense to consolidate our lives and find community and church and where we live all in the same place. This was a church that had people who were not afraid to be real, that they were authentic, seeking God, and it felt like it was okay for me to be where I was with God and not try to be someplace else, and meet God where I was, not where I wanted to be.
I have felt like it's been a home in a way. I felt like it's been comfortable in the sense that it's a place where people can really be real, be authentic, and ask real questions about faith and struggle through faith questions. And I think through my own journey and through our journey as a family in these last few years, it's caused us to feel safe. It feels like the river is a place where it's okay to be that way. It's okay to be real.
I personally like the fact that the church did not emphasize on the building, and the building was simply a place where people gather and worship. We worship on a basketball court, and then 3 years later we moved to another place where there's a disco ball.
I just happened to come across the river online, and I'm like, okay, I never thought I would ever go to a church, and I hadn't been to a church before either. The whole river community was really something that I had never experienced before. Not only was I learning more about Jesus and who he is and who he wants all of us to be, but also about his followers.
I think over the past 10 years or so that we've been here at San Jose State, the things that God has done in my life, the thing that stands out really is a season about 8 years ago that was really painful, and there was a lot of loss during that time and disappointment, and there was a part of me that wanted to flee. A part of me that wanted to leave the church, leave the neighborhood that God had just moved me to. But every time that side would come up, there was this sense of, no, the river is your home. This neighborhood is now your home, and you're to stay. And so I stayed, and over the months and years to come, what God was doing during that time was growing me closer to him. He led me onto this healing journey where I can now say I'm free from self-hatred and shame. And in all of that too, he was growing this gift I didn't even realize of discernment and ministry through prayer. And it's just a powerful thing to be part of ministering to young women, being able to share my story, my brokenness, listen and hear theirs, and allow God to use me as a vessel to speak powerfully into their life.
God has blessed us with a lot of provision, and I feel that if God blesses you with a lot of provision, then it's only because you are to share that. It comes down from God through you and out to others. And during our time at San Jose State, I learned that lesson.
They're young people who are making a difference in the neighborhoods, such as the Servant Partners. We've been associated with them quite heavily, and being able to help them help the community has been very rewarding.
The majority of Chinese students, we are the child from the one-child policy family. We love our parents, but we miss one very core part of the family, that we don't have brothers and sisters. The senior people or the church elders, they always treat me as brothers. They talk with me and help me grow up.
Jesus said, no one has seen the Father except the one who's from God. And one of those things I constantly think about is how I can describe this invisible God to my children. And over the years, I realized one of the best ways to do that is to imitate Jesus Christ. And the best way to imitate Jesus is to imitate people who are sent from God. And I think when it comes to the river, there's has been no shortage of such people. They all really open my eyes to see what Jesus sees, whether it's on the streets of San Jose or on the streets of Tegucigalpa.
The church meeting downtown really showed me that churches don't have to be on this like perfect hill. It's more about serving the people, no matter if they're churchgoers or not.
I will not forget a time before we moved here. There was a prayer time where someone saw this building. It was during a prayer time, and they saw the cross come through the ballroom. Like God's glory is going to come in a powerful way, and that is something as intercession, being on intercession, that we have prayed many times about. And I feel like that has happened. That has happened in this place. People's lives have been transformed. And we can give God the glory for that. So I think this place definitely holds a special place in God's heart, and there was a reason why we were here, and now there's a new journey to take.
Home is always the place where we, with the people, we love each other. With these people, we stay together. That place is home. So home is not a physical place. It's a place for our hearts, for our love. Our River Church will move from the current place to the new Lincoln Avenue place. This does not mean that we move from our root. If we talk about our home, we never moved because we are Christians. We are living in the house of Jesus with our Father. This home never changed.
You know, I went to spend a few days in Napa Valley with Vicki, and we took a tour of this vineyard, and this family owner of the vineyard, this 80-year-old man, was walking us through, and he was showing us the vines and the grapes. And he had this really interesting thing to say about how it is that even the best of vines take years to mature. That in the early years they're producing fruit, but in order for them to produce the kind of fruit that makes great wine, it takes years of maturation. And I believe that that's true for the new season of life in the river as we are planted in this space, having spent these last 11 years. I think in the coming years there's a way in which God is going to produce in us a fruit that makes great wine.
Now there's a joke that I came up with.
Oh, okay.
What is one thing you hate about the San Jose State University?
What's that?
The ATM next to the parking lot. I don't have any excuse not to tithe. Oh, lame.